The question is that the motion be agreed to, and I give the call to the member for Stirling.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Well, I would like to begin by acknowledging the service of those in Parliament here, including the member for Herbert, who've served in the military, and also to acknowledge the passion as expressed by my colleagues on both sides of the chamber for those who haven't served but equally have a passion for the defence of Australia and the values and for all of those servicemen and women past and present. Mr Deputy Speaker, I know I speak for all current and former serving members when I say that pulling on the uniform is a great and enduring privilege. To have that sense of respecting and supporting and defending the values of our country and its people is a wonderful reward. There are also other rewards which flow from service. In my own case, like many, I've received personal benefits. So I've received a tertiary education. I've had the privilege of leading Australian men and women on overseas operations. And of course, I've had the ability to practice different skills like teamwork, like self-discipline and like leadership in small groups. Many others come out with technical skills as well that they can bring. And I know that we all acknowledge the value that servicemen and women bring when they transition, and there's about 5,500 people who leave defence each year. And when they do transition into civilian life, they bring to businesses, to volunteer organisations, to their local communities, a wonderful range of skills. But of course there are those, given the unique nature of military service, for whom there are scars that remain, and not all of them are visible. Since 2001 there have been over 400 deaths by suicide in the defence and the veteran community. This government will continue to make every investment we can to prevent suicides. And providing timely and comprehensive assistance to defence personnel and veterans is absolutely essential. A number of veterans that I know, including my own wife, have accessed mental health services, and I think one of the most important and beneficial changes that's been made recently is, of course, the provision of free mental health services based on serving at least a single day in full-time service. Excuse me. This support absolutely saves lives. It's based on needs, it's uncapped, and it's available 24/7. This government is committed to turning a new page on this chapter in supporting veterans and their families. So despite the challenges of dealing with the summer bushfires, with the twin crises, both economic and health, presented by coronavirus, for the government, and I know this is supported by the opposition and all those in this House, remain steadfast in our support to veterans and families. So we have seen on the 5th of February, the Prime Minister announced the establishment of a new National Commissioner for Defence and Veteran Suicide Prevention to inquire into deaths by suicide of serving and former ADF personnel. A dedicated government task force is now working to establish the Office of the National Commissioner, and this will have powers like a Royal Commission to undertake full inquiries into suicides and be absolutely committed to putting veterans and their families first. But unlike a Royal Commission, this will also be permanent and ongoing. In this year's budget, the government provided more than $11.5 billion to support over 280,000 veterans and their families across Australia. And this includes $230 million in veteran mental health treatment. There's also immediate income support available for veterans and extra support for those with extra needs. Families, I must mention, are an absolutely core component of the mental health and well-being, frankly, of all of us, including for veterans. And that's why it's wonderful to see that families feature so centrally in this Family Advocate initiative. In my own home state of Western Australia, work continues on building and restoring the Veterans Transition Centre, or VTC, in Jarrahdale. Wonderful spot on 42 acres with a bunch of log cabins and an environment where military veterans and their families can attend, receive services and spend time together, as my own family have. Mr Deputy Speaker, the Morrison government has continued to keep the welfare of veterans and their families steadfastly at the top of our agenda, and we always will. Thanks, Mr Deputy Speaker.
I thank the member for Stirling.